What do people think makes them look cool, but actually makes them look like a douchebag? The line between joking and bullying can be a thin one, and a lot of douchebags either don't see it or they just don't care. Blasting music in public transportation without headphones. Picking on someone in a group and trying to get everyone else to laugh at them. Not in a "hey, everyone's joking around" kind of way, in a being a nasty piece of work and embarrassing the person kind of way. People like this suck. Vandalizing rocks, trees, etc. in parks and nature preserves. It takes you out of the experience when you're scanning a gorgeous landscape and your eyes land on "Butthead plus Ding Dong Forever" in bright colors. It's just a prank, bro, it's just a prank. Said by every douche about to get their ass kicked because they pushed too far. Supporting a celebrity that doesn't give a shish about your existence online to the extent of bullying and name-calling people who don't worship that celebrity. Gatekeeping a music artist like they discovered them and are the whole reason for their success. Don't get me wrong, support the artist, but don't be that asshole that determines who is worthy of a common trend. Picking on weird kids. Failing school does not inherently make you a douchebag. But bragging about it as if it's something that is cool isn't the best presentation of character either. Gatekeeping a fandom or hobby. You aren't a real fan of XYZ band if you started listening to them after this album. You're not a real beer drinker if you don't like IPAs. The ones who don't know how to get attention, so they start gossiping about everyone. And I'm like, I know your life is not interesting, but please have some respect for others and for yourself. I have a coworker who has the gift of gab, and is very proud of his ability to give people false assurances while being extremely vague, essentially just bombarding them with words until they're satisfied. It's a useful trick, I suppose, but when you hear him do it in real time, you realize he's just a very good liar. Being an asshole to other people to boost your own ego. Pretending to know, or be something when actually having no idea. Being mean to serving staff. Endlessly talking and bragging about their private lives. Example: I had a real dick of a boss who once said, "Man, it wasn't yesterday I got laid with that woman," after a customer left, which made me and my colleagues somewhat uncomfortable. He also talked about how his wife better show those TTs for everything he does. I'm not interested, and I think it is super trashy to talk like that. Edit. He isn't my boss anymore. Handing a homeless guy a $10 bill and posting it on YouTube. People who tease guys for drinking girly drinks. If a guy wants to drink a strawberry daiquiri, let him drink it in peace. You know what is manly? Drinking whatever the fuck you want without giving a shit what people think. Edit. Thanks for the awards, people. Tons of manly energy in this thread. This is very specific, but I once knew a bloke who thought he was cool for not liking Game of Thrones, which is fine, but would then post spoilers of it on social media along the lines of, "I don't watch or care about Game of Thrones, but X died in the most recent episode. Unlucky if you saw this, I fell victim of it once and I literally thought my blood was boiling. I was so angry." The lesson here is probably to stay off social media before you've seen the most recent episode of a show you love. But still, fuck that guy. Using a cell phone in public on speaker. Edit. Didn't expect this to blow up. Get a headset. Personally, I find this practice about as acceptable as farting in a crowded elevator. What's your favorite question to ask someone to get to know them better? What are you really terrible at? What is something you're proud of but don't get to brag about much? Edit. Spelling. I asked my students today what is their biggest fear. They each wrote their answer on a post-it note anonymously and didn't see other answers until they were all on the board. It was hilarious how many of them answered, "My mom." Edit. Since everyone is so concerned, these are a bunch of high schoolers trying to be funny. Also, as a teacher I am trained to recognize signs of abuse. I assure you these kids are fine. What's your mother's maiden name? The name of your first pet? The name of the first street you lived in, IP address, social security number and your criminal record. Someone I know took a psych test for a work application and one of the questions was, "Do you look at your poo before you flush?" He asked us around the office and it was funny how divided we were and how passionate we all were about our reasoning. I often think about that. You wake up Saturday morning with absolutely nothing you have to do. Money is no issue, and you have all weekend free. What do you do with the next 36 hours? Edit. I guess some of you aren't super bright, so let me help you. This isn't a question I'm posing on someone else's post. It's an answer to the post. I'm answering op. Hence the quotation marks. I'd borrow from David Sedaris and go with, "When's the last time you saw a monkey?" My 29-year-old special needs daughter has a list she likes to use. What is your favorite reptile? What is your favorite fighter jet? What is your favorite bird of prey? What is your favorite dinosaur? What is your favorite venomous snake? The thing is though, she doesn't actually care about your answers. She just wants you to ask her favorites so she can trap you in a one-sided conversation for the rest of your natural life. People fall for it every time. Oh, and in case you are wondering, the correct answers are crocodile, F-14 tomcat, wedge-tailed eagle, Spinosaurus, black mamba. Giving her the correct answers won't get you out of the conversation, but it will save you the lecture on how wrong you are. I went to a music outing with this girl I recently started seeing and her friend was ditched, so we said that he could join us. When trying to get to each other better, he asked me what my favorite breakfast food was. We had a solid 15-minute conversation about French toast and different toppings and how an egg should be prepared depending on how you had spent your previous evening. Great icebreaker. What's the most obscure fact you know that would make you win on Jeopardy? What's the best thing that happened to you today? Pets are a good one. If they don't have any pets, ask them what pet they would want, or any childhood, old pets. It's personal, but not too personal. Also, people love talking about their pets. I use 2. 1. What is your everyday superpower? I.e., my significant other always gets amazing parking. Always picking the fastest line at the supermarket. 2. What's in the trunk of your car right now? This leads to hilarious answers in my experience. Their views on entertainment is always safe territory. Movies, music, etc. Their 3 wishes. If I gave you the money to set up a theme restaurant or bar, what would be the theme? What would you call the establishment? What would be the signature cocktail? What are your most visited subreddits? Their answer could easily end a relationship before it even begins. I usually go for open-ended questions. My favorite is, what's the coolest place you've taken that pair of shoes? Have you read any good books recently? Oddly, this makes people really excited about a book they are reading or sad that they haven't read one lately. If you could only eat one type of cheese for the rest of your life, which type of cheese would it be?